Hi, welcome to Math with Marty. This week, as we go on the air, the nurses may have already settled their long strike, and it looks like we're going to be hearing complaints from other areas of the public sector about the lack of funding they've been getting from the government, i.e. the taxpayers. The school boards are already complaining that they just can't make do with the money they're going to be getting, and it won't be long before the universities start complaining again, as they were complaining quite a lot last year about how they just can't get by with the low level of money they're taking in. I think it's interesting to look at how much money the universities do get altogether, because that's the area of the government sector where I myself am employed, and it's annoying to me that all you ever hear from people in the public sector is how they're not getting enough, whereas if you're actually working in the public sector, it turns out the benefits are unbelievable, the salaries are great, and there's seems to me from where I sit that there's plenty of money available for us to deliver our essential programs. In particular, the universities have been complaining a lot. They had kind of a big campaign going on last fall where they were trying to promote public awareness of their funding crisis. But one figure that never seemed to come up in all of these discussions was the bottom line. Which is the university's total income from all sources, and I'm talking about the University of Manitoba. We're looking at a total income of $300 million, with which the university is asked to provide a decent education to the equivalent of 20,000 full-time students. This gives a total available money of $15,000 per student per year. And by the way, you can see that these figures are more or less right, because if you divide 15,000 by 10, you would get $1,500, which is a typical yearly tuition, which represents 10% of the total money available. Now, $15,000 per student doesn't seem all that bad to me as far as available money. If you think of a course like first-year calculus, where there might be 100 students in a class. Now, a student has 5 courses to take, so you could divide this $15,000 into 5 courses, which is $3,000 per full course. If there's 100 students in the class, that means the university has available $300,000 to deliver that course. I think they can do it for that amount of money. Now, when the students complain that they're getting overcrowded classes and not enough access to the professors, it can't be because of the money available. It must be because of the way the university divides up their available money. I mean, even if you had 20 students per class, which would be virtually ideal, you'd still have $60,000 available to deliver that course. And how much could a professor cost? You're talking about 80 hours of available classroom time, and if the guy was paid like $100 an hour for classroom time, that would be $8,000. Then if you double that up to include extra time for office hours, it would be $16,000, and that's at consulting rates of $100 an hour. So it seems like there's plenty of money to deliver courses. I think in all branches of the public sector, you just get used to spending money on a scale undreamed of ordinarily by ordinary people. And then these kind of amounts don't seem adequate. But in my opinion, people responsible for delivering these services to the public should try and make do with the money the taxpayer is generously providing to them, rather than always asking for more. You get a strange perspective on money when you've been a long time in the public sector. I remember when I worked in Pinawa at the atomic energy station. It was my first job after graduating from university. I started in 1982 at $25,000. And by the Conservatives had been elected, and there were the sound of cutbacks in the air, that the government was going to be freezing money to the Crown corporations, and there was, I remember, a dark, dark day when it was announced that because of government cutbacks, Atomic Energy of Canada had taken the drastic step of deciding that all salaries would be frozen. And well, salaries were frozen, and then around the new year, when increases would normally have come up, I noticed my paycheck jumped by about over $100 a month. And I talked to my boss about this, and I said, I thought the salaries were frozen. And he said, yeah, the salaries are frozen. And I said, yeah, but my paycheck has gone up. He said, oh, well, you've got your merit increase. I mean, that's not frozen, because you have to get your merit increase. And I said, my merit increase is so big? He said, oh, you've also had a cost of living increase. You know, that would never be frozen. And of course, you've also moved up the scale, because automatically after 6 months on the job, you move up from level 6 to level 5, or whatever they call it. So actually, your paycheck has gone up, but your basic salary has been frozen. And this is typical of the kind of budgeting they get used to in the government sector. And it's always seemed to me that there's about maybe 2,000 people in the whole province of Manitoba that are doing the essential work that keeps the rest of us going. And I think those people who are enjoying the benefits of, public sector incomes should be more aware of the hard work that certain people do have to do for a lot lower pay and less benefits out on the outside. That is perhaps all the editorial comment I wanted to make on this subject at this time. Last week we did a harmonies workshop on Math with Marty, and it was a real good show for us. And I thought we'd try some more harmonies this week before we did any math. And one song that kind of works good for harmonies is the famous gospel song, Amazing Grace. So we're going to go over and join Neil and Sharon. We figured out that we can do this song in the key of A. Let's hear that A chord. Now the way we're going to do this is Neil's going to take care of the melody here, and Sharon's going to do the harmony, which would be just above his melody, on the next chord note above his melody, which is going to have a lot of parallel thirds. So Neil, you're going to be doing Amazing Grace. Amazing. And then Sharon's going to be up three notes, which will be Amazing. Now you can't find it. She can't do it unless the guy's actually singing. Okay, start singing, Neil. Amazing grace. sweet.